I call the meeting in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Sarah, will you take roll call, please?
Sure. Bob Huskis.
Here.
Arnie Schmidt.
Here.
Okay. Bill Connell is not here. Okay. Then we have Vanessa Jones. Here. John Williams.
Here.
Dave Triggs.
Here.
Robin Sudan. Here. Ted Chase.
Here.
Bob Hornlocker.
Here.
Mayor Kramer.
Here.
Okay. And we know that Stephanie, John, and Bob LaPorte are not coming tonight.
Okay, very good, thank you. Next thing is public comment. The motion to open the meeting to public comment.
Moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is open to the public.
That's quick and easy. Hi everybody, I'm Zach Lickman. Hey Bob. I wanted to just kind of meet and introduce myself to somebody I may not have seen before, and put an idea into your mind and let us sort of ruminate and think about it and see if this would be a great thing for our town. I think it would be. As the sort of founding president of the Astronomy Club in Franklin Township, we've been wonderfully granted access to the John Clyde Preserve. Thank you. We've been there 2 weeks now. 1 week we got rained out, but the first week was open. We saw fantastic stuff. We actually saw a SpaceX launch burn low on the horizon, totally unexpected. We're all like, what is that? What is that? And had a fantastic night. Saw the Whirlpool Galaxy, Globular Cluster. Most importantly, a bunch of people came who said, this is cool, I didn't know this was here. And we're really excited about it. I had people who are townies for like 40 years say, I've been living here 40 years and I didn't know of this spot, and I practice astronomy and this is fantastic. This is a great space. So that was the comment of the night, and I'm not saying that to like make you feel better. That was what people were talking about. So fast forward a little bit, we have been thinking about the idea of having an observatory somewhere in town for a long time. The club has a number of people who are actively engaged in other clubs and outreach programs, do astronomy as a hobby but also as a passion, where they're producing really amazing photographs, showcasing them. So there's been interest in having a facility, having some spot where we can sort of live, if you will, where we can practice something that's not on the whim and weather. Here's a facility where we can access it, go to it, use it. The idea would be John Clyde is a perfect spot because of the light pollution situation. There is no direct light there at all. It's an open space. It has a wide field of view to the horizon in all directions, which is important to see a lot of things. It's got a little bit of a laminar flow because it's a little bit of a sloped hill there, and that is really important for your instruments to be happy and working well, and for you to actually see all the cool, faint, fuzzy stuff. So there's a number of reasons I can kind of go down a list of why that's a great spot, but I really want to just leave this to you guys and sort of ask the question, is this something that we could do, that you'd want to do, that we should sort of talk about? And I'm not looking for you to say, yes, let's do this, obviously. Where should we begin that conversation? What are some of the things we need to talk about? Obviously legal, as far as, can we build a structure here? Political, do people want this here? There's a number of things, and you guys really, you're the committee to sort of hash that out and sort of let me know what your thoughts and feelings about that would be. I can say that there's a lot of interest. There's a number of people who said, I would love to be part of that. I would love to volunteer at it. I would love to showcase the universe with my equipment here to other people, to school kids, to people of the public. It's not just astronomy club stuff. It's, let's make this something that everybody in town has access to and can have a really great experience with. Sorry, not trying to be long-winded. I don't know how much time I have, but
what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about a pre-existing place, or were you thinking about building a place?
Ideally, we would build a structure there. We would build an observatory.
Do you know the law on that, Bob? Do you know the law on whether we can build a structure on open space?
You can build structures for educational purposes, yes.
Who would fund this observatory? That's the question.
It would be a good question. So we can call for funding from places like SHI or other corporations in town if they want to. Like, for example, RVCC, Ritter Valley Community College, they have their 3M observatory. So they got a lot of funding through 3M, the manufacturer. So we have opportunity because we have some cool manufacturers here that are even related to science and technology that might be interested in grants or, matching money or something like that, and we can kind of go down that road. It's another question of exactly what kind of facility do we want to have. So in a dream world, we would have electric and plumbing at the facility. You would have a bathroom that would be accessible to families, because right now there's no bathroom, there's not even porta-johns unless we sort of get that into the cycle. So that's, of course, that's dream world, right? We got to start with the dream and see what makes sense and how do we, work around it.
How big a facility are you thinking about?
Like 25 by 20, just ballparking, something like
Square
that.
around?
Square.
Square.
Yeah, so just to give you a flavor, I mean, we can look at examples of other places that do this. There's companies that make sort of ready-made systems, so to speak, where it's not like we all have to build and make something or figure that out or hire an architecture. Like, no, this is a company that makes a turnkey thing. Here's what they do. Here's the money. They build it. They train you on it. Here's your system. So there's that.
And is there a telescope that's part of the observatory?
We would have to buy that. Yeah.
I'm assuming that you've been to the one at Voorhees State Park?
Yes, I'm a member there, qualified observer. I showcased that one, yeah. So there are a number of telescopes that would be ADA accessible. That's another caveat that I would be very, very gung-ho about making sure everybody had access to this. That would be really out of this world scopes, really great equipment that people in the community of astronomy world would say, they've got really nice equipment, I want to go there, I want to work with them, I want to share my research with the high school kids and do some programs with them to gain access on that telescope.
Yeah, I was thinking about, could that be included into the Board of Education curriculum?
I hope so. They're my next people to sort of chat with about this. I come to you first because that's the spot, right? And if that is something that we think is really special and we like the idea, then we kind of branch out and say, who else would like to be involved in this down the road? And
Give me a ballpark
The one
figure
at
on
Voorhees
these,
State Park, if you're not familiar with where Voorhees State Park is, it's in
I
Clinton.
know where it is.
Near Spruce Run. It was built in 1965. It was a 26-inch Newtonian reflector telescope, one of the largest privately owned telescopes in New Jersey. And it was built by the New Jersey Astronomical Association on leased land from the state. So the state does not own it, the state does not run it, the state does not staff it. It's done privately by the New Jersey Astronomical Association, according to the state website for Voorhees State Park.
Zach,
yeah.
do you know Amy Gallagher?
Yes, I do.
Okay, she lives here in Franklin.
Yes, she does. Yep.
Okay, she's the planetarium director at Raritan Valley Community College. And I bring that up because I know her and I know her husband. And I don't know if you've gotten involved with her as far as talking about this project at all.
Just preliminary and saying, like, here's what we would like to do. And she's like, that's awesome, let's do it. But yeah. There are a number of people like her, I'm not going to speak for her specifically, but who have said to me, yeah, if you guys have a facility like that, and I think I mentioned this, I would like to come there and be part of that and do programs, do outreach, do things with the community with that.
Does our high school have any kind of astronomy program or a club?
I proposed the club a couple years ago. COVID happened. Don't know what's really become of that. I haven't been involved with them closely. I don't know if they have a club currently with one. So there was interest at the time, and then, yeah.
What's the ballpark figure? I know it's reaching.
It's a range.
A figure of the telescope. What we talking about?
So again, all right, Dream Telescope.
Yeah.
All the way down to like, here's one that would be amazing and still do many
Right,
things.
yeah.
So like, Dream Telescope would be like 600,000. That's a
Okay.
serious professional. That's one that like Rutgers University, Princeton University would
Right,
say,
yeah.
I would like time on that.
Okay.
I will bring a professor out here. They'll work with your students too. We'll be involved. That's a big number, but that's what a professional, large, observatory telescope would be. The telescope. Building itself, a few $100,000 if it's a nice, structure. Again,
Well, understand that unless it's built in the manner in which I just said that was done on the state park property, his estimate is significantly low. All right, because now remember, and everybody got their own opinions, but I throw this out. A 1,600 square foot concession stand was 650,000. Okay, this is government. This is prevailing wage. This means the cost is significantly higher than if it's done in the private sector.
But if we lease them
No, that's a whole area that I'm not a lawyer and I don't even know. I mean, can it be done? Yes. Clearly you can lease property that's open space for certain purposes. We lease a school down in Kingston, right?
Yeah.
But the general terms of a lease in the state of New Jersey are 5 years. All right, unless there's an exception that has to be granted by Green Acres, and that's what we got in Kingston. But here, you're talking about a lot of moving parts that I don't know the answer to.
Well, let's say,
Yeah.
because the state leases go with the nice soccer thing, that's all.
Absolutely,
That's
they
all
do,
property, right?
without a doubt. That's
Or
state-owned 6 Mile Run property leased to the soccer
Right.
organization, yes. So it would be similar to that with our property. I think that it would be very similar.
So the cost should be less for them to build this by leasing them a piece of property.
That would be the belief, but then they would have to build it, not us.
Right.
None of our money could be used for that purpose whatsoever. Because the moment you spend one public dollar, it has to be prevailing wage, labor, and everything that goes along with it, and the bid process. Yep,
So there's a whole lot of options to look at.
yeah. I think that the first thing is, and to put it back on Zach, to some degree, that if you have some means to come up with a basic plan for this, I mean, I can't go to my engineering department and tell them to design an observatory. It's a little bit out of their wheelhouse. You need to come up with something to make a kind of a formal proposal here as to what you're looking to have done as an observatory.
Township, I'm actually a member of the Planetary Society. Have you contacted them to find out if, I mean, it's an international society, if anything similar to that has been, I'm sure they have.
Has been built, for example, is that what you mean, contact?
Well, I mean, they must know about, similar projects throughout the country.
Yeah. So I contacted a number of parks that have observatories, and they've all procured funding through different ways. I mean, there's a variety of ways to go. The easiest ones were when their state parks and the state says, yeah, we want to promote this, and they write a check, right? The ones where you have to fundraise take a long time, and the ones that are sort of in the middle are usually a happy medium, where it's the park department or state, local government, whatever, says we're going to match what these corporations would like to also bring in. So there's those kind of scenarios. I talked to like Deep Sky West out in Arizona and a few other places, and they all have different avenues they've got. Because like us, we have this really cool, unique caveat that we have open space, which is separate than parks. So that's, our township has that avenue as one way to look at it.
Are you familiar with any other towns in our area here that have something like this?
Yeah, so Princeton has their own astronomy club, and they, I believe their land is on a park and leased to them. I don't know offhand, but they have a small observatory and they do public nights. So yeah, but their facility is pretty small, but they have some really nice capable equipment for what's there.
Where is their equipment in reference to the number you gave of $600,000?
So
Which end of the spectrum are they on?
They're not in the professional equipment of the $600,000 range. They're probably in the, let's see, the number of scopes they have, $50,000 to $100,000 range, I'm guessing, based on what I've seen. And again, some of those were donated, some of them they bought, so I couldn't really give you the number. But as far as an observatory, with an observatory class instrument that would bring in professors from other schools, that direction would be where I think we'd want to start. Not that we have to do that, but it's like if you start with that scenario and say, is this possible, or how would we make that happen, it gets people excited about it and involved, and it brings people in to the game, so to speak.
I would think you want to have a facility where you can start with relatively inexpensive telescopes and then work up from there, as you build a public, so to speak.
It's yes and no, because if we do that, yeah, we can get, a small shed up that encloses the equipment or smaller piece of equipment, but then it's like, okay, we're sort of piecemealing something together and it becomes this never-ending jigsaw puzzle of okay, well, we built this here. If we're going to build a big one, we have to build it next to it, but that's not ideal. And I've seen that, for instance, at NJAA, where they have the 26-inch big telescope. They're constantly frustrated with, well, this roof needs this issue, it wasn't designed for that. And we expanded over here, but it doesn't make sense because we already had this classroom built first. And it's this piecemeal challenge. And I'm not saying I'm not poo-pooing the idea, but that's the challenges they face if they start smaller and try to expand.
Would it be appropriate, so this discussion doesn't go on and on and on?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good discussion, I appreciate it. If you were to put together something in writing.
Yeah, I can do all that.
And a proposal that gives us, a lot of
Absolutely.
details.
I
that
can
we
give
could-
you.
You could send it to Tara and she can distribute it to us for us to look at.
Yeah, this is a very preliminary, like, hi, I'm Zach, here's an idea.
Yeah.
What are your concerns? What do you think? What do you like? What do you not like? So all that, I can do that. And I can kind of give you, like, here's 3 tiers of what something might look like, for example.
I'm asking the question, if everybody else, would like this. I would like to see something like that. I don't know about everybody else.
Can we approve the concept? This
Well,
committee, can this?
No, I
No,
don't.
we can't.
We can ask for more information.
This is way too early in the process to be
I think
approving
we're
it.
just telling them we're interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, just.
Put together
that's the
something
concept.
that
What's
this
the
committee
difference?
can review and then make recommendations to
Yeah.
council based on, a variety of options. And then that means then the next step is all of the work related to the legal aspects of it.
yeah.
Who pays for what and how.
When you do the proposal, if you said, I'll definitely help you with some points
Yeah.
too if you want, but it's important to put in the proposal as well, like in terms of parking and access, ADA access, like you said, that's important. But the other thing, think about like, are you gonna be charging? Because for example, because it's preserved open space, those are kinds of things we need to think about. Is there gonna be a fee to get in? Who's gonna be manning it? Is there like security, insurance, I'm assuming you need on these pieces of equipment? And just out of curiosity, how long, I was just wondering, how long does like that telescope last for? Is it like a forever telescope?
No, there's no equipment that's forever equipment.
Got it,
Same as your
yeah.
car, you need maintenance, but it's
Got it.
not a scope that you're not going to spend $500,000 on it one year and spend $100,000 next year. No,
Like
It's-
the
we're talking
technology
like
doesn't advance so quickly.
You were talking like
Got
a
it.
couple grand to
Mhm.
maintain, clean, whatever,
Got
every
it, got
couple
it.
of years. It's
Okay.
not,
Got
and a lot of that stuff could really be done in-house by club members. I mean, I am in a strongly business where I service telescopes, I do that. That would be
Yeah.
something I would donate my efforts and time to do, to make that happen.
Well, when you do your proposal, I would definitely put all of those
Sure.
ideas into
Yeah.
it, just because it is preserved open space, there's so many different things that we
Right.
can do and we can't do,
Yeah.
so it's good to know those things up front.
Yeah.
But if you need any help with it or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put a bunch of stuff together, and
Yeah.
I fully expect you guys to say, here's 100 questions we have, and we're, there's no, I'm not gonna give you the final draft or anything, but here, I can give you a really good example, or maybe 2 or 3 that look different.
Right.
Give us like,
Yeah,
Taj Mahal versus,
Right.
this is the bare minimum we can,
right.
it doesn't have to be bottom end of it, but this is where we should be somewhere.
Shed in
Yeah.
Kingston.
And when I give you like ballpark what prices, I'm like
Right.
looking at, here's a company that does a turnkey one, that's what they do, and again, that's private, so Bob obviously is pointing out, no, we would have to do it a little differently, but that's the numbers I know, so that's why I tell you that.
Well, personally, I like the concept, and I guess I'm old here, so I remember when I was in the elementary school, we had a trip to Princeton to see the observatory, and I had an opportunity to meet Mr. Einstein.
Oh, wow.
But that was like, going down there was just ideal. So your concept, tell you, I like it.
That's
Right.
super interesting.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
I think you want to stress the educational
It's a good
aspect.
thing. You look good for your age.
To some extent, we're going
Tell my wife
to get
that.
the weeds past Green Acres. And, as Bob mentioned, with the school in Kingston, we're actually able to work it out to have a 24-year lease, which is 1 year short of the absolute maximum that Green Acres permits. And it was largely because it was already a school building. It was used to having a school. I'm just concerned that if you put your eggs in the basket of the $600,000 instrument, you may just not get there.
Right. Well, I'll give you some proposals, I'll write up some cool stuff,
Yeah.
and I won't take up more of your time.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you guys for
Thank you.
hearing me out, and I hope
Thanks
it's something
for
fun we
coming.
can all work on.
What's the date of our next meeting?
Motion to come out of public comment? Bill Guys.
Okay, Tara, what's the next
I'm
meeting?
making,
The next meeting, we have it, usually we
Usually
miss
September.
July and August, so September is usually the next meeting, but that's,
Okay.
that, you probably need that time anyway.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
assume,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
Sans third Tuesday in
Yeah.
September.
Okay.
September.
We're third Tuesday, Astronomy Club meets third Tuesday, so I ran from there to here, we're good.
Oh, there you go,
Right,
September
so-
17th.
It's still light up, so
Yeah.
you're good.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
Motion to come out of public comment?
So moved.
Second?
second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have no April minutes, Tara?
No.
We have no secretary.
Everybody-
Financial report?
Financial report, yes. Okay, the financial report's on the table. I also sent it out beforehand. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. I won't, because I can't see, and I still am
Okay.
using my glasses. Robin knows, I just said yesterday, I was like, I'm gonna wait till I absolutely basically go blind.
So you walk into the wall.
Yes. Okay, so, I guess, does anyone have any questions on the budget?
What is the volcano wall?
The volcano wall, where that's over, at Middle Bush Park?
That's the sensory part for, yeah, the thing over between Demont Lane and the parking lot.
Yeah.
By the synthetic turf field.
It's like the natural
Yeah.
play
That
area?
natural
Yeah.
play area
Yeah.
that was done by, back when Fran was here.
Mhm.
Oh, it's a climbing.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
natural play area.
Oh, okay.
It incorporates a lot of different sensory,
Mhm.
well,
Oh,
What the hell's water stockpiles?
I usually have to have more than just this in
I
front of me to
know,
give
and
you
that's
an
all I
answer.
had in front of me, I'm sorry, I don't know either.
It was capital, well, it's out of the capital improvement fund, so it's a capital expenditure, so whatever it is, it's not just, couldn't tell you, certainly could find out.
The other one of our questions, they didn't know what the heck it is electrical load. They didn't tell me much.
Yes, I know, sometimes when the description goes in there, that's all that's there, so I'm not 100% sure.
She's taking it off of
Yeah.
it's just
off
coming
the
off of a
spreadsheet,
line.
Yeah, I can
And
ask Carl though about it.
Yeah, that's what you have to do, is get a little bit better description. from
So
her.
I know I'm the newbie. Help me understand wages, full-time, I see there's no part-time, and then we have a separate line for landscaping and parks. So those wages are other than
Landscaping and parks is material, look to your right column.
Yeah.
Landscaping and parks is literally the materials for landscaping in the parks.
Okay, so there's no labor in that
No,
40,000?
salary wages is labor, that's the only thing that's
Okay,
there.
thank you.
And I will tell you, like, because you are a newbie, I will tell you what I tell everybody when they look at this. That's not real time. The finance department moves money over from open space to general payroll periodically through the course of the
mentioned that
year.
at my last
Yeah,
meeting.
it's,
Thank you.
so, don't look at that and say, oh, they only spent that much this month. How come? Well, because they might have spent more, they might have spent less.
Yeah.
It's just not a real, it's not a real time thing. and find out what water stock items
Yeah,
are for you,
I'll ask
Robert.
Kelly.
She'll get it from Carl. So, I mean, it's out of the capital improvement fund, so it's something related to a capital expenditure of some sort or another.
Yeah.
The other one I got here, the question is field sweeping fireworks on turf.
Yes,
When?
that's in preparation for the fireworks,
Yeah.
Do it before the fireworks.
No,
Okay.
and after.
and I would say, yeah,
Very
after
well, okay, so that's a good thing. All right. Any other questions?
The raise the well casing, I can tell you what that one is. Whether you are aware of this or not, the South Bound Brook Little League fields are in Franklin Township, and their snack shack is on a well. And that well needed to be located because it was buried at some point. It was found in the parking lot, and we had to raise the well casing so that it was above grade, so that we don't lose the well again.
That's, but legal, I think by health standards.
Yeah, there you go. That was the problem. It wasn't meeting the proper requirements of the DEP. Yes, so now it does.
Yep.
It has been raised, and it's been
That's
protected.
why we question the well casing.
It's been protected, and it's surrounded so that nobody can hit it, because it's in an area where they previously parked, but not anymore.
The notice of public hearing,
Mhm.
and this was for, was it Chevron, gas?
Sunoco.
Yeah.
Sunoco.
Correct.
Do they reimburse us for that?
No.
No,
It's
that's
our
our
requirement to do
responsibility
that.
is to notice, yeah, because it's our open space property, so we're required to do the notice. So that includes the 2 required newspaper ads, as well as we have to notice everyone within 200 feet.
But
so-
they do have to pay us for the easement.
Yes, they do.
Okay. so
Yeah.
we
Oh,
get
yeah.
something
The
back.
diversion is financial.
Yeah.
They're on the hook for a percentage of the appraised value for the easement. And that was done by one of our Green Acres appraisers. They paid for the appraisal too, we didn't pay for the appraisal.
Right, correct.
We have to pay
Yeah.
for the notice.
Yep.
Any other questions on the finance report? If not, we'll move on to new business. Beer manager program.
Oh, dear master, okay, yes, so after our last meeting, I sent out, a nice-ish request, I guess, to get more. I still tried to be nice, but it worked, and so now we have a response rate of 79%, which is great.
Good.
So we're only missing, actually, a total of all the Hunter summer reports, we're only missing 30 out of 143,
So
which
let me
is
ask
great.
you a question. There was 143 permits issued. How many permits issued do you think guys or girls didn't go out and actually hunt? There's probably a number that actually got a permit and never even went and
Yeah.
hunted our properties.
Right.
I would say
So
we
that's
had,
gonna be some of
yeah.
the missing people.
It is.
They're not gonna file a report because they never even stepped foot in one of their
Right,
properties.
the 80% is pretty, I think that's one of our strongest numbers.
And I agree. I mean, I don't know if it was ever 80%.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think that's a great number. Don't worry about the 30 missing.
And I think that a good portion of them either didn't shoot a deer or didn't even make it into the field.
Right, for whatever reason, right.
Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, so we
You
have,
could, in the initial notice, say, even if you did not shoot a deer, even if you never made it into the field, and all you can report is a 0, we'd like to know.
yes,
Agreed.
absolutely. So from what we got, there was a total of 135 deer that were called this season. Number 1 spot is 10 Mile Run, followed by Butler Road. Butler Road usually tends to be, pretty good. And then I have it by space if you'd like to see. And then I have it each tab has its own table as well. But you can kind of see, so this is Butler Road, so you can see that a total of 24. This is an increase of 6 from last year, and we have 13
So
responses.
look at where it was way back when.
Yeah.
Back in the day there.
Yep.
54.
Yeah, lots, yep. Then we have,
I don't think that's reflecting a decrease in the deer herd. I think
No.
that's reflecting a decrease in the number taken by hunters.
it is. We have the County Route 518 property here. We're still missing some from them. We have 9 responses and a decrease of 11 at DeMont Lane. one of the guys that hunt, because that's a very close group of people that hunt there together.
It's a whole
One of the,
family.
yeah, and one of
Pretty
them
much
got a
one family.
serious injury and they couldn't hunt this year at all, but they sent me
Yeah,
a long
well,
note.
the father was out of
Yes.
service. yes.
And he sent me a long note of, and, you know, I couldn't be there, and
Don't
so,
take me off the
that's probably why,
list,
yeah, I just, oh my gosh, of course not,
I know
yeah.
Mr. Gorka
A very nice guy, yeah. Then we got Elizabeth Ave, had 3. We had a big increase in Negri Napodi, which is great, 17 altogether, 26.
Some of the negative progress is on our conservation permit.
So
Yeah.
some of the names changed on that property too.
Is 10 Mile Run,
Some
Bunker Hill?
names have changed.
I
on
include
that
Yeah.
Bunker Hill.
But I would say,
Bunker Hill,
the
yeah.
ones that come
Yep.
across at night,
So it's like the whole
from negative
10
progress, we
mile
put them on, and we follow
Okay,
the
and
negative
that's
progress.
firearm and
Oh,
well,
So-
Bunker
so-
Hill.
I
And then we just, again, Willow Road, we're down 2 from last year, but a total of 6. Wilson Road had 12 deer, so only 1 lower. Big increase at Weston Road. That was one of the places we actually added hunter last year. We added 1 extra permit, so that looks like that actually made a difference. And then Memorial Forest, we don't have any taken there yet. At the Terhune property, the leased farm, there was 7. 3 at the Scott Farm, and 4 at the Dunn Farm, 6 at Gunther. And we all kind of hunt collies, so.
really don't like that very much, is it?
Part of the problem there is the deer living in the houses and they come in the dark. We need to get a letter from you saying we can get a declaration for referrals for the township properties,
Right.
then we can help get rid of some of the deer that way. If not at night, it extends the season during any, you know what I'm saying, extend the season on February, extend it till whenever. So when you get a free moment, draft me up a letter,
Are you doing it on the state property?
at 7 the other night.
So one thing for the upcoming season, the DEP just released the regulation sets for next year's hunting program. So I've been working with Bob. We're going to have a wildlife management committee. We always meet once a year just to kind of go over, make sure there's the appropriate number of permits at the right properties. So we'll be doing that hopefully sometime this week. And that's Bob, Kathy Blumig, and Al Pachaliger on there. So we're working on that, updating the signs, updating the application, so moving along for next year. But
So should we probably get a motion from this committee to go to the council and continue on with the program?
I think that you sent it to Anne Marie, right?
I sent it to Anne
For this
Marie,
meeting
yeah.
on Tuesday, so yeah, you should do that.
For July 9th,
Since
I
we
sent it
sent it to the clerk to
preemptively,
put on the
yeah.
agenda for July 9th, so.
yeah.
We have a motion to approve the hunting program for another year.
so moved.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Awesome, thank you so much. Okay, yeah, so the approval will be on the July 9th meeting, for the town, we always get it on that July meeting. So.
Yeah, good.
So then that is everything can get in place by September.
Yes, yes, definitely. So we're working on it.
I mean, I've noticed a huge, again, drop-off in the deer population.
Over by you
Good.
think?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, go take a ride down Wilson Road at any time, day or night, you will change your mind.
It's not just me, I mean, other
Yeah,
people.
no, I'm just saying,
mentioned
it all
too.
depends on
I don't know
location.
why.
Yeah.
If you were to go over in that part, I mean, that's my way in and out of work every day, and it doesn't, I don't care what time of the day, I see at least 1 or 2 deer, whether it's 7 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the
No,
afternoon.
I see 1 or 2,
Yeah, I'm
but
just
I
saying,
used
no,
to
there's a
see
whole
a dozen
herd.
at a
Yeah.
time.
And that's
at
that
any given
Wilson
day.
Road
Now
property.
it's- they're
Should be cleaning up on them.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Arnie, because all fall long, or spring long, I haven't seen many deer in the field. The other night, they went out on a permit, they got 7, and there was deer everywhere.
Wow.
Every field they went, there was deer all over, and so they're, for whatever reason, you're not seeing them, like I say, all spring long, I've seen maybe 5 deer over 1,000 acres of ground. And they went out and, like I say, they saw every place they went, there was deer.
Did
So-
you used to see them come out of the park by your house?
Anywhere from the park to Quail Brook,
I don't think there's any-
all those surrounding areas.
Mm.
I mean, it used to be dozens of them
They're moving.
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And now I
Wilson
see
Road.
just
Right.
1 or 2 at a time, and a lot of
That's
you know,
interesting.
farms, I hardly see, I only think I've seen
Oh,
any.
okay, so that's where they're at.
Yeah, I don't know, yeah.
No, I don't know, the only thing I can come up with is coyotes, because I do hear them, and I saw one
Yes, I
once.
remember you said that last time. Yeah, that could be a reason. It definitely could be.
We used to get deer migrating from the golf course along Hickory Road on a golf course that would migrate from there along New Brunswick Road between the houses. A lot of trees there.
All the way out to Inman Park. I mean,
Yeah,
that-
and we would see between 6 and a dozen almost every day. And now if we see 3 or 4 a week.
That's good for your
Huh.
arborvitae.
No, it's great. It's a
Yeah.
good thing, actually.
I have a picture.
I'll send you your hunters.
I'll restock for you over there. I'll bring some over for you.
Go in our front yard from a week ago. But
Huh.
All right. Let's move on. This probably burn.
Yes, so I talked to George Effinger, he's our fire steward. He sent me an email just the other day and said he apologizes that he did not get to Negri Napoli this year. And now, as you know, we're in nesting bird season, so can't burn there right now. He just said the weather just didn't work out. So he did send me an updated application and just said just complete the cover page, have Bob sign it, and then we can get in. And I did tell him maybe next year that he can put Negri on before
There has been an increase, so I talked to somebody at the county who I know on Sunday. I talked to him, and we were talking about this, and the county, they are in the same boat. They have now begun to use prescribed burns on a number of their properties, and the demand for Mr. Effinger and his services has increased dramatically, and therefore this is one of the reasons why we're having, he's basically doing this full time now for the Forest Fire Service. This is all he really does now, because there's such a demand for it. So, yeah, but we need to put Negri on first now.
Yeah, Negri has to go first. Yeah, they're gonna have to
Put a
go.
little pressure on them. Look, you're supposed to do this 2 years in a row. We have
Yeah,
to-
I mean, I don't think he'll have a problem doing it first.
Right, but
I
you
know.
got to put a little heat on him, maybe, you know.
Yeah.
Since he's not far away.
No, exactly, I mean.
Yeah.
That might be fine.
I think it's been a big improvement at Grickstown for sure. I think it's been in terms of management, the money savings and the labor savings and having it done how we want it done, I think has been
So we
really
should,
good.
this winter, well, before, after the nesting, we should mow Negri Napoli somewhere along.
After
Yep.
nesting,
After
yeah.
nesting, we get it mowed.
Yeah.
So we have some thatch to
Got
burn.
that mower now,
Yeah.
it's easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think last year we had them go first week of September,
Mhm.
so.
Because we gotta worry about, they gotta clean up between the two houses, there's an area they didn't mow, and you got some big trees, and they didn't go there with some big equipment to get rid of those trees.
We can do that.
But there were a lot of places in Negri that didn't get mowed. I know that.
Well, that's what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's what we're talking about, yeah.
We gotta mow everything, but or we can't mow, we gotta go in with a fat loaders, whatever, and get rid of, cut them down, pull them out,
Just go
whatever.
with the skid loader and can
Right,
deal
right.
with that.
Yeah. All right, anything else on the new business? If not, old business? Final draft for the trails?
Oh, yes, so I sent it to, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. I sent something else to Mark Healy. At the Trails Committee, we finished going through all the comments from Open Space Advisory Committee, and so I've worked on implementing the ones that we're putting in there, and then I'll get that to Mark Healy for adoption for the master plan. So we just finished those comments on last Wednesday.
And it was really great, so really appreciative of everybody who put comments in.
Yeah.
Some of them are things that made changes, and some of them we're gonna hold on to. We're like, okay, we're leaving this the way it is, but we're gonna hold on to this information to inform us that when we get to those items, we'll consider that, and before we make further plans, consider that input. So it was really helpful to have a lot of the historical perspective in there. Thank you.
Some bike path information, yeah, and we use the counties as like a foundation
Yeah,
for it,
okay.
yep.
Grant for Damon William Park?
So I actually met with Carl today at Naaman Williams Park, and we went over the projects that we think we can get done for the amount of money, which is the $20,000, and the labor. So the biggest thing is you know that they put this, I don't know if anyone has been to Naaman Williams lately, but where the main flooding problem is, which is right by the playground near Matilda Ave, little big business, the pool and the gazebo.
Yeah,
I'd say.
yeah, I was saying, yeah.
They put in
Closer to the
200
picnic
grants.
pavilion.
Yes,
than the pool,
yes.
yeah.
So DPW, when they redid the path, they put in these 2 under drains, but they're not connected to anything just yet. So we talked about using the grant for that today to get it connected into the wetlands, into the culvert, using the pervious pipe material. And so Carl knew all about that, and he said his staff can actually do the elevations they need. So part of that, the trench, he said was fine. The only thing is we need to get a mark out from PSE&G because they're concerned there might be like a shallow wire there. So we'll just make sure it's not there, and then we can do the trench. And then the other thing we'll work on is, and I keep looking at Vanessa and Ted because they know, is the, remember by the other playground, that's by Mark Street, I guess, down. There was like this little cutout. We originally thought, oh, maybe a rain garden, but then Ted had said, you know, we should just remove this vegetation and dig a channel that goes to the existing drain. And they said, yeah, no problem to that. So we'll start with those. So he said after July 4th, he can get me some drawings for the getting into the culvert. So
the biggest one is that the first one she talked about is to get that water from the developed part of the park into the undeveloped part of the park, which is natural wetlands to begin with, and that's really where the drainage should go. And I guess when the grades were done in 2003, when they redid the park, that just was done backwards.
And you can see little, I don't know what you would call them, but you can see that if there were heavy rain, you have a little stream.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, no, it naturally wants to go that way, it just can't right now, because when they regraded the park, they changed the contours where it probably went naturally before.
Well, they maybe will need to deepen those natural channels.
And that's where the problem is, the grade it's difficult because the wetlands are almost at grade with where that water is sitting, so it's kind of hard to.
So that's what he said, he's gonna do
You don't want to dig,
elevations.
75 feet into the wetlands either.
Right.
Yeah, because the real brook is pretty well over to the other side.
It is, far in.
there.
Goes through the Leewood problem.
So Tara, when you say the unfinished pipe, are you talking about the pipes they put underneath the pavement?
Yes.
Where they're still with the orange cones right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So he's going to basically take some elevation measurements from there into where the culvert is. So we walked in, they know where the culvert is, they saw it, and see how most effectively can we get that water over there. And that's gonna solve probably 70% of the problem, just fixing that there. And then the trees too, we talked about like beefing up that tree line. So all those projects, we'll use all that money, but we can at least get it going, so that'll be good.
Yep.
So that was good news.
All right, next, I got one on.
The dugout.
Yeah, I got one.
The dugout, I didn't even talk about the dugout because we were so far over, we were probably so far over budget already that I was like, the dugout we'll go back to. The dugout, I think, it's like, we need to, I don't even know, Dr. Abrupt has said, oh, this should just be like, you know, dig it up and like put like the, you know, synthetic like material there, but it's just like at this point, like we'll focus on these. But I think you're right, the dugout at some point is gonna have to be addressed, so.
When you say dugout, are you talking about a baseball dugout?
It's like a little, we call it, it's like a little bench where the kids sit. It's not really a dugout. It's like just kind of where they would sit if it was a dugout.
That's what I thought,
But the water just sits there.
Yeah, right where you can always see cleat marks, like deep cleat marks. It's like always wet, right where the kids are sitting, but it's because the water runs down directly into that spot.
It's a low spot.
Yeah, but they'll be okay.
I just wanted to mention I was at Negrita Podium Saturday with the L'Oreal.
Oh,
team.
Oh, you went
good.
with Chuck Martin?
Yeah, and
That was on Friday, right?
it was Saturday, I think. Was it Friday?
No, it was
Oh,
Friday.
Friday the 14th was my
yeah.
wife's birthday.
And,
Also,
cake.
Flag Day for anyone
yes,
who cares.
Oh, yeah.
but it was interesting to see, they move a twig and then they stand back and talk about it.
Yes,
So, and they didn't, well, maybe that's poison. I said, leave that to me, I went digging around and taking care of stuff. But they were very nice, but they had a a good social outing.
How many people?
It's team building though, right?
Yes, it was team building for them.
I think they said there was 30 or 30 signed
Yeah,
up, so
yeah.
probably like 25 to 30.
Yeah, there
altogether.
were about 15 where I was, and then the rest were over with Chuck and John.
And how many tons of debris do we remove?
Robin removed.
Well, they clean the signs too, I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So we got
they're good at watching.
Yeah.
And I tried to say, well, this is what you do, this is what you want to remove, and Claire, the gal from
The watershed, yeah.
she was very, very patient with them.
Good, yes, yes.
But, you know, I said, you're right over there, this is your backyard, you should care about this.
Yeah, they got, and they probably do look forward to it, you know, getting out of the
Oh,
office.
they were very busy talking about lunch, because everyone over Stagehouse.
Oh, Stagehouse, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Chuck on Sunday, and he was happy about it.
Yeah, he seemed like he was happy about it. Chuck was a huge help, so just everyone on we said, and I told him, he said thank you and everything, because, you know, he's no longer on the Trails Committee, he moved, but he volunteered to come back, and he does have a lot of patience, and he's very good at
Well, he
teaching
also has a
people
lot of
what's
knowledge
what.
of that particular property, and what
Knowledge,
needs to stay and what
yes.
needs to go.
He's
So-
really
That's why
help.
when Tara said that she had run into him at a
Yeah.
National Trails Day, I said, listen, we'll take any volunteers that we can get. I don't care if they live in town, and Chuck knows more about that than anybody else. Let him go and help out if he wants to.
He was great.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
He can
nice.
come back anytime he wants.
Yeah, Claire was at the National Trails Day event, and so it was great. She was
Yeah.
saying that she had this opportunity with these L'Oreal volunteers, and Anne Marie, who Negri is her adopted trail, but she nor I were available on a Friday.
Yeah.
And
It's a work
luckily
day. I mean,
Chuck
people-
had come and
go to work.
was
He was
eager to
great.
help. We were so grateful,
He was great.
so grateful.
That was one thing actually I wanted to ask, because when I was talking to Chuck about it, he was like, oh, it'd be nice if we could do something nice for them. And so I don't know, should we maybe recognize them, the L'Oreal, for coming out? Because they did, I mean, maybe they come out more times, they'll help us do more
Right,
things,
maybe.
you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, we want to
Maybe
get
get
them,
them,
yeah.
make this at least annual.
Yeah, maybe we could write them a letter.
What was it exactly that they did?
There were two projects going on in
Can't hear you.
Do you want to do accommodation on the 9th?
We could do it on the 9th, do.
Just write something up for Anne Marie to put on the July 9th meeting,
July
and we'll just do it.
Are you gonna invite them?
And I'll invite them, and if they can't come, then I'll ask them for the next
We'll
time.
just send it to them.
Or we'll
Yeah,
send
we
it to them.
just send,
Okay.
make it hanging in the lobby of L'Oreal.
Yeah.
Sent it. I think that, even if
Don't
it
even send
encourages them to come back to the
Right.
street cleanup or something, that it'll help.
And we don't tell Anne Marie we don't need an individual accommodation for every single
Right, just the
participant.
place, just
L'Oreal
L'Oreal,
Corporation
yeah,
employees.
just L'Oreal.
And it's their annual volunteer day, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I want the name of each person and their high school.
None of the kids I was working kids.
We don't need
None
to
of the
have
other
read
girls I
the
worked
names
with.
of all involved.
Oh, no one was there? Okay.
There must have been 15.
Yeah.
None of them live in Franklin.
Well, at least they work here,
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'll
I
ask
was
Claire if
surprised.
she
I
wants
thought-
to come, and she's helpful,
Well,
so.
I was wondering if this was something that would, if that's for me, tell him.
It's Billy checking it.
Billy's got his hands full. I was wondering if this would be something that would be good for the Environmental Stewardship Award for the Environmental Commission, but it sounds like.
So there's that, but just also remember
Not there
that
yet.
now, utilizing Clean Communities funds, and we're gonna start a new program that actually is I think it might actually be out at this point, that any nonprofit, now this is obviously for profit with L'Oreal, but any nonprofit here in Franklin Township that wants to participate in something like this can do that, whether it's a park cleanup or something else on public property, and it doesn't have to be our property, it could be public property owned by the state, I mean, it might be a roadside cleanup somewhere, things like that, and utilizing Clean Communities funds, we're going to, based on the number of participants, give them money. Which is a permitted use of Clean Communities funds. So if your church wants to go clean up a portion of Middlebush Park on a Saturday, we'll assign a couple employees that are funded from Public Works to provide the bags and the gloves or whatever, and they can go clean it up, and they spend a couple hours doing that, and we give them $500 out of the Clean Communities Fund towards their organization, whether it's a nonprofit or a house of worship, whatever it is. So this is going to happen more often. So while I appreciate that they came out and did something, you usually find something kind of noteworthy for that award
Yeah,
every
yeah,
year.
this
So
was
I
not
was
that
thinking,
caliber.
when, as you're saying that, I'm thinking, I could see if it's a nonprofit, a church or whatever, giving them money to help them with it, but to give $500 to a multi-billion.
Well, you can't,
dollar-
no, this has to be a nonprofit.
Be a
nonprofit.
By
Oh, okay.
law,
Okay,
we
gotcha.
can only do that for a
Okay,
nonprofit.
good.
But what I'm, you know.
You mentioned
the-
L'Oreal,
yeah,
and I was
the
wondering.
No, what I'm saying is, you're talking about your stewardship award. I think that you're gonna see, hopefully, more activities like this, number one. But also, you know, there's a number of companies that do, it still happens, I mean, you might not see it, but the Adopt a Highway program is really geared towards companies for activities like what took place on the 14th, all right? But on roadways, roadway cleanups instead.
What happened on your wife's birthday?
Yeah, it did, it happened on my wife's birthday, happy birthday, hon. But yes, so anyway, I think that, you know,
Yeah, this
you don't
was
have
not-
to choose your stewardship award yet.
Okay.
This did not reach that level.
Perfect.
And there's a member of the Environmental Commission speaking sound wisdom there.
There we go, perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
moving on. I got a question about, maybe you can answer this as
Yeah,
well.
I'm
We
fine.
paid for some of the Meadows bills this past winter.
We have.
Has
Paying them.
anybody, I requested at this meeting about trying to look at their books.
I have not had time to even have a conversation with Sue Ann Durkach about what's going on with them. And there's been a couple emails exchanged between her and Tara and I. And so the answer is I have not had the time to get into that discussion with them. In fact, I don't know that all of the bills that are paid yet.
They're not.
because
We're still in the
one of
process of paying.
We're in
You
the
know,
process of paying.
talking to one of the tenants is like where they buy their fuel and all this different stuff is like, and what they're doing managing the houses are kind of off the beaten path, so to speak. And the money they're getting for some of these houses, there should be some money left over. So I don't see why they're, you know, I would say mismanagement, but somebody ought to be looking over their shoulder a little bit.
I'm going to tell you that I hear what you're saying. I think my bigger concern is that there is a significant lack of membership in the Meadows Foundation to be able to do the work necessary. And when you're relying primarily on one woman who actually has a job and has a you know, is not retired or independently wealthy and has to go to work every day, she's doing the best that she can to try to balance everything. And there's just not. I mean, I know seated at this table is a member of the Meadows Foundation. Not pointing fingers. And I think that a certain person here could back up my statement.
Absolutely.
All right, you know.
Well, I don't disagree, I'm not arguing that, but it's this idea, I think some.
No, Bob, I'm not questioning what you're saying, I'm just saying this is one of those things where, you know, I tread lightly, and I tread lightly for a number of reasons. What is being done is above and beyond what we would be able to do. And those houses belong to us, and their sole purpose is to aid the township in trying to maintain these buildings that we own. And because of that, I think, you know, that was why I advocated on their behalf when I did, because you know, if they fail and they go away, all of those responsibilities for those homes falls on us.
I understand.
And it falls not only on me as the manager or the mayor as the mayor, it falls on this committee. Because all of the things that we want to do related to our open space properties will be impacted by the fact that we now have to take care of these homes. And, you know, the idea of being a landlord is not one that I welcome. Right? And that's, you know, so with the lack of caretakers in these homes, then the choice is probably going to be to mothball them. And I don't want to see that happen either. So it's a fine line.
I understand that, but
I understand where you're coming from, and we will talk to her about it.
Because the perfect example of, I don't want to say mismanagement, but some function going on every couple Sundays, every other Sunday at the Wyckoff House.
Second Sunday of the month.
Second Sunday. Yep.
Free admission.
Mm-hmm.
If you need money, charge $5 a head.
Well,
I don't
Well,
think we have people.
my thought was, they ought to raise their membership do
They
this.
should, but I'm gonna tell you, so, and I will tell you that, so, I put my money where my mouth was and became a patron this year, and I made my donation, doesn't matter how much I donate, but I donated enough money to make it a significant, I mean, I got a phone call saying, oh my God, I can't believe you donated that much money. Well, but the point is that there's almost no one doing that.
Yeah.
You know, they need more membership.
They do, but
They need to figure
besides
out.
membership, they need people just to support them financially.
Right.
And they've not made a tremendous effort to get that out. And it's not that hard, I mean, I did it in a council meeting while I was saying that I was gonna do it. I just got on my phone and did it. I mean, it wasn't that hard. But they need to get more people to do that other than the township manager sitting in a council meeting. And I know the mayor did it too, not that he'll admit to it, but he did. But it's just, they need to get more people to be sponsors. I mean, they need members, they do need that, but they just,
Contributors.
$20 goes a long way if 100 people give $20, right? I mean,
How many of the houses that we have need people living in them?
every one of them.
And how do we advertise for that?
They all have caretakers.
And that's-
The only one that doesn't have a
Well,
caretaker
that's what I was asking.
is Van Lucid Dam, and that's only because it was in the midst of renovations to the point where the caretaker's quarters couldn't be occupied.
Okay, so they do have.
They have caretakers in all of them other than that one. There's a caretaker in Van Wickle, there's a caretaker in Wykoff Garrison. Tulipwood is ours, it's not under the control of the
So we don't need anybody
Meadows.
living there.
Oh, no.
Which one?
Tulipwood.
There might be, but we're not.
Why do you mean that?
Let's not go there.
No one in Tulipwood, and Tulipwood is in need of mothballing, because we don't have the money to do the restoration work on the house, and there's no use for it currently to keep it the way it is right now, which is a furnace heating it and, electric on and all of those things that when you look at those, when you look at those reports, right, the finance reports, that's part of it, all right?
So
You
it's
go down in the
uninhabitable
basement and
now.
See the wiring.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's uninhabitable.
It's uninhabitable. Well, no, yes, it's uninhabitable currently. Could it be made habitable? Yes, although the caretaker quarters in that house was never anything to write home with from when the Meadows had it and had a caretaker there.
Where's Tulipwood? I'm not familiar with that one.
Hamilton Street.
It's the
Near
beautiful
the
yellow
sister-
house.
Next to the sisters.
With the Dutch gambrel roof, the columns up.
On Hamilton, you said?
On Hamilton Street, almost
Back
across
in-
the street from
back in-
Tabachnik Foods.
It's beautiful.
Yep.
Beautiful.
On the north side of Hamilton Street between Girard Avenue and Wheeler.
Ah.
I mean, is there any advertisement on, like, through the township newsletter or the website?
We put stuff out, yeah, I mean, we include things on the Meadows Foundation and everything that we do.
But you're saying, no, the Tulipwood is just, it's under, say, the
Straight
district
down.
It
sheriff?
belongs to us and it's vacant, and it's not under the...
It's not Meadows?
No,
It's not
they,
leased by
the
the
Meadows
Meadows.
gave it back to us in 2015. They said it didn't meet the criteria for the Meadows Foundation, which was Dutch architecture, and it's not Dutch architecture.
It's 19th century.
Yeah, it's not.
All right,
What's
let's
going
move on. Consultant Buffalo, that's it for the
One
report.
second.
Anybody have any
Right,
questions?
right.
Oh, the mayor has a question.
The dam, the portable dam.
So that's, now that your budget is adopted, once the estoppel period is over, we can go contract with an engineer to determine the hydraulics on the soil around the house.
Okay.
Which house is this?
Van Wickle, the one that floods. The one for which we have flood insurance, the only one, thankfully.
All right.
I thought he was just cursing when I heard him say.
No, the mayor and I met with a with a company that manufactures a portable dam structure that can be put up in a short period of time, a couple hours, that could be used to possibly protect and over, I'll say, a long period of time, like up to 72 hours maybe of the flooding of the river, and it would be surrounding the house. The concerns that we got, and probably justifiable concerns from our public works manager, who's also a civil engineer, is would the water come up and still flood front? And not so much, it will probably flood the basement. That's kind of a given. But would it come up on the other side of the structure that would be put up so that it would be flooding on both sides of the dam, creating a pool, right, and still flood the house? I don't believe it would. But I'm not an engineer. You are an engineer and you don't believe it will. But the other things that would have to be done in conjunction with this is we would still have to take all of the electrical services and raise them up into the main part of the house from the basement, because we would rely on pumps that would be run on electric from the house, and you don't want the electric services to be underwater. So there's a lot of balls up in the air, but the cost for the dam alone is about $85,000, but every time it floods, it does about $400,000 worth of damage.
Is there some kind of a boom type of thing?
It literally is, it has supports, and it goes up in panels. Look up this when you get a chance. Portadam, Portadam.
Right now.
That's the company. Portadam is the name of the company. They've done major jobs, along the Mississippi River. They've done, they do long-term projects for bridge dewatering, for work on bridges, where you can put it up and then pump away from the bridge and do work on the.
How high is the dam?
It depends on what one you get. You can get, there's a 6-foot one and an 8-foot one.
And a 12-foot one. Again, a 12.
And a 12-foot, maybe there's 3 then. Yeah.
So it's something they bring in for each?
No, you leave it there, it all folds up, it's on site, and the Public Works Department comes and sets it up. So it needs to be set up.
We basically own it?
Around the house, we would own it, and it was about $85,000 to surround the house.
Now, does our insurance help pay for that?
No. Flood insurance is national flood insurance. I would defer to the expert on insurance at the table, deferring to you a lot today. No, insurance would not pay for that, but what insurance has said to us is, because this is a historic structure on both the state and federal registers, and because the work inside the house, according to our requirements from the Department of the Interior and the State Historic Preservation Office, has to be done in a certain manner because it's a historic structure, insurance doesn't care. Insurance says, if you don't replace that with sheetrock, or you don't replace that floor that got flooded 3 times now, we're not paying for it again. All right, so we're at that point where the Selective Insurance, who's the carrier for our flood insurance, has said, if this is damaged again by flooding, we're not going to give you money to fix it because you were supposed to fix it with modern materials. All right, I can't fix that part. So that's why at this point, if there's some method to protect it from future flooding, this is a fairly affordable way to do it, which has been proven around the world to work. Our concern is because of the soil composition and all the other things, and it's so close to the river, that we want to make sure that we're not just creating a swimming pool for the water to come up out of the ground on the back side of the Portadam. So we have an environmental engineer that we contract with as part of our engineering contracts. They're actually local, right on Davidson Avenue. And so now that we have a budget and everything's in place, we can start to do those things that we do. Capital ordinance is what's covering this. That's why ordinarily we'd be able to just pay for it out of the trust, but this was a capital project, so we had the capital ordinances that had to clear, which they just did. Now we're just waiting. July 4th they clear for the stop.
Any other old business? If not, any questions on the activity Kyra's report?
What's the micro-mobility study?
The micromobility study is something we're working on. It's really kind of like a partnership between Trails and Environmental Commission, but we got grant funding to complete the community energy plan. And then in doing that, we realized we didn't really need the money to do the community energy plan because I'm a licensed planner, so I can sign off on the plan, so rather than hire a planner we got permission to use the money to do a micromobility study, which is basically trying to figure out a safe way to get people from the eastern side of Franklin towards DeMont Lane. Really, at this point, we're trying to just get people to DeMont Lane, and it's by, it could be through road improvements, it could be increasing the length of the signal time, signage, but basically using bikes and scooters, and so really like non-car transportation, and so that's kind of what we're
Including
looking at. Yeah, but.
Like walking on a
yeah.
trail.
We actually just met with a consultant, I brought this up at the EC meeting, and we had, it's called a charrette, and it's like basically a,
That's what it is.
fancy term for like
Go to
meeting and
something.
drawing on the map together.
It's not charades, it's a charrette. It's a fancy
Yes.
word for meeting.
It's a whole
I
meeting,
learned that
but-
many years ago when I went to my first charrette in Kingston with Ted,
Yeah.
at the Kingston school.
Because they literally would bring out the drawings in a wagon.
I don't think I
It's a
was.
chariot.
That was a long
Got
time
it,
ago.
okay.
Probably
That makes
like
sense.
1999,
That makes sense, yeah.
2000.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say 2000.
Okay.
2000.
Yeah,
One thing
right
we
around
looked at
there.
is,
And there was a charrette, and I went, what is a
connecting
charrette?
Neiman Williams Park, that pathway, the consultant identified a potential concept to connect the path at Neiman Williams to the youth center, and then also to a proposed path that would go through, what were the two schools?
Middle school and
Franklin Middle School, and what's the one that's?
Hillcrest.
Jason.
Hillcrest.
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 Yeah.
Oh, right next
And
to
so
Hillcrest.
that would basically form a safe passage using striping and bollards and all kinds, to getting kids from that area by Neiman Williams to the youth center, direct stop at the youth center where there could be a bike share maybe or whatever, and then over to those schools. So that's one option. But so far so good, and that should be done by the end of July, the first draft at least. So, and that's completely grant funded, so we don't have to pay for that.
I was hoping that we could have something where eventually there would be a path through the sort of the back edge of Sampson G. Smith School, because then you, from there,
Yeah.
you could go right out to Vermont.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's an option
I
too.
think when you come out.
Yeah, I think right now it's like we're limited because of the grant funding that we have, but moving forward, now that we know the concept, we could think of something, we
Where
could
by
potentially
Sampson G. Smith
come up
School?
with that, so.
Where are you thinking that there needs to be a pathway?
Well,
On the Sealy's Run side,
That's
or
what-
on the
yeah.
DeMont Lane side? You mean like between the parking lot and DeMont Lane, put aside the
well, I
driveway?
was thinking sort of from Celia's Run, and there is,
Because there's a walkway from the soccer fields to Sealy's Run.
you know,
There's actually an improved walkway
Yeah.
there. That was put in for the kids to walk to school from that neighborhood, Cedar Brook and Sealy's
Yeah,
Run, in
yeah.
that area.
okay, well, then maybe that could be
Could be an idea,
You
yeah.
should look at that.
I will,
Yeah, you
yeah.
should just look, I mean, I
Yeah.
think you can see it on an aerial.
It might have been, like, the consultant might have felt like that was kind of already existing, which is why they
Right,
moved on
and
to
that's- and it is already
yeah.
existing,
The
so.
good thing is, besides the micromobility, having these types of, they'll identify grants and partnerships, like, for example, they told me one thing, which I didn't know at all, which
Are
was
you bored?
that the North
No, I was
Jersey.
testing something.
The North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority has this free library, but it's a library of like transportation items that you can borrow for free for like 6 months at a time. So say it was like, I want to see if this striping here would work. Like you could try, like that have like things you can
Right.
put on the ground. So I learned a lot even from that. But, and the other thing we can do is we can measure theoretically how much greenhouse gas emissions we've saved over a 5-year period. So those calculations will be done. Theoretically, yes, very theoretically, yes. It's gonna be based on, like, you know, the happier side of things.
We need to-
Yeah, that's our measurement.
There
we
you
need
go.
to have some sort of sensor to count bicycles somewhere
Yes,
on
that
the
would be
route.
nice. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
I know, Ted's like, he's laughing at me, yeah. Don't worry, Ted, we'll get there. I'll probably-
I know we had somebody who lived over the Sleaze Run area who went on one of our hikes and was
Yes.
asking me, he'd taken the path, I guess that was kind of runs behind Sampson, and he was stopped by school security.
I'm sure he was.
And so that's just something of us to be mindful of,
Exactly.
Interesting.
is mindful of that and the logistics during the school day.
That is a good point, like this proposed path that they're talking about through the two schools, that's something important to keep in mind. Yeah, okay, good point.
But you're also, your target audience for that one is school children, so
It
that
is.
won't be an issue.
To get them to the youth center, yeah.
But,
Okay, yeah.
yes, school security is a little
Yeah.
sensitive to that in this day and age.
Yeah, that makes sense, I just
Yeah.
wanted to, I didn't want us to push something to a
valid,
space
very valid
that,
point.
Yes,
Yeah.
very good point, yeah, definitely.
All right, anything else for Tara? If not, updates for other committees? Anybody have anything to report?
Well, I guess I could just say that, thank you, I'm reading all about the anti-idling signage ordinance going through, so
Done.
that we should start to see more signs that say,
That will be all the new construction, and it'll
Yeah.
be part of their site plan application process.
so, hopefully.
The Environmental Commission bugs all site plans about having the signs, so.
We also started talking about a movement that ANJAC, Association of New Jersey Insurance Commissioners, is working on called Skip the Stuff, which would be an ordinance to essentially tell food vendors, restaurants, don't automatically put the plastic fork and spoon and paper napkin and straw in the bag.
You mean in Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions?
Yes.
Yes,
You said-
you reverted back to your old days and said insurance commission.
My apologies.
I heard her, so getting correct.
Different kind of
Force of
insurance.
habit.
Yeah.
That's it.
Different
She
kind of
planted in
insurance.
her head.
You live a lifetime of it.
I
and it just,
wasn't able to make any corrections to the minutes, so
But I have a question on that, and maybe you remember, and you might remember too. Wasn't that part of the law?
Just the
Just for
straw.
straws.
No, not the plastic knives
No,
and
not the
forks
other
and,
stuff,
okay,
no.
all right. It's
It wa-
been a while
It
now.
was in the draft.
Maybe it was in an original
that
version?
we drafted
Okay.
from the,
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
township, but, so, more to come on that. And Tara just has finished a yeoman's effort on the PSE&G Community Energy Grant,
Yeah.
Sustainable Jersey, that's being submitted. So hopefully, with that kind of work, we'll be getting information out to residents on how they can save money on their energy bills. And we've set a goal of reaching 3.75% of all the households in Franklin Township.
The eligible ones.
Yeah.
And getting them to do something.
Yeah, to sign up to take advantage of some of these savings. This is essentially.
Stuff out there is for free.
PSE&G has been told by the BPU they have to do this.
But there's, I mean,
So they're
there's,
farming it out to us.
there's ways to do things that are really no risk and no risk with great reward.
We just have to inform people.
Absolutely, I understand that.
Yeah. Tara's helping
Well,
us.
I remember at one point we were trying to get businesses to sign up, I guess, for energy audits,
that,
and we
and-
sent out a letter and there was
Yep,
no
no
response.
So after this grant that we just received from Sustainable Jersey, this is the residential one, there's an option to do businesses. Maybe we have to do this
We
first.
did it once,
So maybe
because
they
we
can
do have
help
a
us.
list of all businesses to send things to.
We have to make a video
Ted's
with the mayor in
right,
it, by the way, that's part of the grant, forgot to tell you. Now we got it.
Make your films.
Ready for my close-up.
So for trails, just want to mention that we are having our next hike. We're having a Firefly hike on Saturday, July 13th at 8 p.m. at at Griggstown, at John Clyde Griggstown.
Who's leading that one?
I am.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a song and everything. I wrote it myself. So yeah, so it's just a nice fun event. So it's really family friendly. And it's just beautiful. It's just like this, free firefly fireworks that we have. So we have that going on. We are hoping, I know Tara's been working on like the printing of trail brochures and maps. The things to do map that has all of our trails on it. We spent a lot of time updating it. And we would love to have that. That's something we love to give away. We are planning on having a table at Franklin Day, and we would like to have those maps to give out. And right now that's Tara already talked about all the other things, so don't need to repeat them.
The things to do, map, are we doing?
No, we're not redoing it, we're gonna use the old one, yeah, the old one, yeah.
Seeing there's no public, no such no public comment.
I have one other committee to report on that I'm not a member of, but there is a member of it here. I know that Ted has asked the question on a number of occasions of me at the council meetings, so I might as well bring it up here since we're doing reports in that Shade Tree Commission. Come on, Arnie, you're missing a boat. So the Shade Tree Commission has been working towards preparation for their community forestry management plan renewal. It's been delayed by the state of New Jersey for a couple of years due to COVID and extended. There's a couple different things that Steve Galuli, the chair, and I have had conversations about implementing. The first is that we've cut the purchase order for CME, our engineering firm, who has a certified tree expert on staff to prepare a tree management plan for our Public Works Department for newly planted trees through 5 years of age, and based on, no, it's 5 actually, through 5 years of age. So we're going to do that, and that will be a plan that the Public Works Department can utilize for newly planted trees and going forward. It will be a comprehensive plan to include different types of trees and what you do and where you plant them and all those good things related to trees. The other thing that I've asked Steve to review with the Shade Tree Commission is, as a component of the community forestry management plan, is tree inventories. Some of it is done much like the tree, this committee did one a couple years ago, right? That's kind of utilizing satellite imagery and determining forested areas versus non-forested areas. But we're going to look for something a little more specific. Our community health assessment took into account the fact that there was a lack of trees, specifically in the 4th and 5th wards of the town, and it lacked a tree canopy. That has an effect on heat and all the other things. So looking to incorporate our community forestry management plan, I don't have a total number. I will tell you it's being funded out of the Shade Tree Trust, obviously, not the Open Space Trust. But it will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $80,000 to do a full tree inventory of our street trees in the 4th and 5th wards, as well as our parks in the 4th and 5th wards. Not the heavily forested areas like that exist in Inman or that wetland area of Williams, but the developed park areas, a tree inventory to include type, location by GIS, and condition. So that would be done as part of that project to incorporate that into the community forestry management plan. So I know there's been a lot of interest in this committee by members of that. So that's the report on that. And then the next thing that would be done in concert with this committee is to develop the tree planting plan for Memorial Forest. So that's the next thing after these things take place. So that's my update. But go ahead, Arnie.
So 2 things. So where does the watering and maintenance plan come into this?
I just told you. That's the plan that they're developing.
Okay, and that's the plan that is going to come to the Shade Tree Commission for us to review and comment on.
Well, that's the one that your chairman is working on, the expert from the certified tree expert.
And he's told
CME. She's coming to your meeting, your next meeting.
Oh, okay, good.
So I'm saying, so that's
okay.
that's the
Yeah,
plan.
that's what we've been told. Is
and
that
she's also the one who will be doing the overseeing the tree inventory, and she's also the one who will be doing your community forestry management plan.
Okay, so the other thing is, and I think we've bumped heads on this a couple of times, and this 5 years, 3 years thing. So it's always been for new trees, they need to be watered for the first.
I'm not an expert on trees, and I can't tell you what this is going to say, and you have her coming to your meeting. You should ask her all those questions, not me.
Okay, all right, that's fine, but
I have done nothing but facilitate it.
That's good.
It's not for me to say what should be in a plan, what shouldn't be in a plan, or make recommendations. I know that it's a maple tree in front of my house, but that's about it. I only know that because that's what my parents had in their front of their house too, and I know what the leaf looks like. But other than that, Marty, I don't know enough.
Great.
I'm regurgitating what I experienced in a meeting that I had with the chairman and vice chairman of the Shade Tree Commission with the certified tree experts from CME.
No, Steve's been great, and
Yep.
I look forward to that where we can discuss that with
She'll
her.
be there for you on your next meeting.
Next, I believe, next Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
Robin and I did a
you did.
sort of drive-by survey of where trees might be planted east of
Mhm.
Franklin Boulevard.
I've seen that
and
report.
all of the areas
Yep.
that
I
have a
think that-
low canopy cover.
The idea for this is a comprehensive inventory of all trees that are street trees that are under the control of the township in the entire 4th and 5th Ward.
And I think the holes will become obvious.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, because it will be a map and we'll
Yeah.
have little dots on it.
Well, and what we can
Yep.
do too, once we get that, we can, if you wanted, we can talk about it as it goes further down the road, but we could take measurements, like temperature
Well,
measurements.
see, that was
and then
the
after
point, and that was the
planting, measure
discussion.
more.
And
Yeah.
because obviously I had familiarity with all of the work that Safi and Tara did on the health assessment and how it ties to this, and this could be a component of it, that to make that the focus of this renewal of the community forestry management plan. Because a lot of the negative evaluation work had already been done, so now this would be to focus on what can be done in a positive manner to correct the negative.
Yes.
So
And
to
that's
actually
cool,
make the
yeah.
community forestry management plan in a town like Franklin mean something, other than just have it, and then we get to have one of those leaves up to,
Yeah.
for Tree City USA. I mean, beyond that, we want to have it mean something. So, Steve was very enthusiastic, and, he's a good leader of the Shade Tree Commission.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know that I ever sent that to Steve Gillooly.
You sent it to me.
You sent it to
Yeah,
me.
Good,
yeah.
Yes.
okay, good.
So that's it, but honestly, Arnie, you gotta ask her, I mean, Tara knows her, she's known her for a very long time.
Not that
Um,
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I can get.
Always since
Only
college,
very
which is a
recently.
long time
Yes.
ago, in the days of yore,
Yes.
but yes.
We will work that out.
Yeah,
very
let,
good.
work through it with
Very
them,
good.
because you have at it, and make it so what you need it to be.
Just a question, you probably don't micromanage this much, but Bob Hudak and I had gone out last fall and marked a bunch of trees on JFK Boulevard that were dead at the truck top and that would probably have to come down. And I think just in the last week, I've noticed maybe 7 to 10 trees taken down. I don't know if you're familiar.
Probably the case, I mean, but yeah, they do work every day, and I don't manage that part of it.
And
If I did, I would
do you
not
remember
be here, because
the
I'd be
Love Foundation, or what are
bonkers.
they called?
Oh, the We Will
Yes.
Be Foundation,
Yeah, they
yeah.
want to give trees.
They
Yeah,
want,
Linda's
to
working
get,
with
yeah,
them,
so we're
yeah.
working with that, they want to do some work, they're going to do some beautification work on the youth center too, for plantings, just kind of perennial plantings.
Well, we have the money to do it. Want to plant trees?
We do, so we just got to find out where's the right place to plant them, and what kind's the right kind of tree, right?
And how to take care of it.
Exactly, and how to keep them alive.
All right.
I just want to share, I think it is great to use this health study as a needs assessment. And I love how the tying in to different goals and initiatives, tying back to that. I think that's great. I know we're doing it on trails. It's great to hear other groups and committees do
Yep.
that as well.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of work.
Yes, it's
It was a
good.
lot of work, and it would be terrible to let all of that work be wasted
It's
and not
data.
incorporate it into other things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, need a motion to go into executive session. There's something I want to bring up about a piece of property.
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?